What's happening, man? We live. This is the No Cupcake Zone podcast. You know, with your boy Triple Black, Black, aka the number one stunner, aka the boss, aka three black hearses. It's murder. Anyways, man, we got Coach P in the building today. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the book right now, man. What's going on, Coach P?
Man, nothing much, man. Glad to be on your show, man.
Man, what's happening, man?
Hey, everything, man. I see you finding shots early today, man.
Hey man, you ain't. Hey dog, what got you up, man? You ain't hog hunting right now, man. Rabbit hunting, man. You know it's Easter. Hey,
Hey, you know I'm down in Southwest Florida, man, living my best life, man.
you already know what it is, man. I can't. You know, I'm at work right now, so but you know, I can walk and chew gum at the same time, so I can't really show my face, you know, right now. But anyways, man, shout out to Ben. Tell him, man, tell him where you from, man. Represent, you know what I'm saying, backwoods, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, you're was it aren't you from aren't you from Mayberry?
No. I'm not. We're a couple generations past, maybe. We got black people in our time. No, but I'm from a small town in South Georgia, man, called Bainbridge.
Yeah.
I'm originally, if you want to go original, I'm originally, I grew up on Cal Thomas Road, man, and just to kind of give the audience a little bit of knowledge about Cal Thomas is he was a black man who owned, man, maybe 10, 20, maybe 30,000 acres back when black men could not own land. So it's a historic area, man. So I came off Cal Thomas Road, and it's out in the country. We're closer to Wiggum and Climax, Georgia, but Bainbridge is the closest city. So I always just represent Bainbridge because everybody kind of know where that is, and that's 30 minutes north of Tallahassee. I am a disabled American veteran. Did 8 years in the United States Army. Married.
Salute, soldier. Salute, for real.
Thank you. Married with 3 kids. And, you know, just out here, man, grinding, man. You know, I've been in Southwest Florida the past 10 years, teaching and coaching. And, you know, this year I'm helping out a great program over in Lehigh that we trying to put on the map.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. I see you got the, you know, the podcasters, you know, you got the podcast network, you know, going up, man. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and plug that, Coach.
Yeah, man. So it's the Impact Media Channel. That's MMPAK Media Channel. And we're on YouTube and we're also on Facebook. So my goal is to produce 100 podcasts by the end of the year. Right now we just signed on 2 more. So right now we're at a total of 9. And you know, by the grace, we'll have all those podcasts out by May 1st. That's the goal, by May 1st, to have them all up and running and producing content, man. So I'm very excited about that. Very excited about it.
Yeah, man. You know, I see you keeping busy, coaching, writing books, man. You know, that's what we want to talk about, the book, because I think the title of the book, you know, kind of almost leads me to think that book is all about your purpose in life, you know, changing, you know, your direction in life, man. Talk about the book, man, and you know, how do you get there? What made you decide to write the book?
Well, the title of the book is Live, Love, and Lead: How to Transform Your Life from Ordinary to Exceptional. And about 11 years ago, man, I hit rock bottom, hit my face on the ground. And it was, you know, nobody that I could blame. You know, it was based all on me, all on my decisions. And, you know, I had to take ownership for that. And so I just started back grinding, man. You know, one of the things that I learned early in life was that if somebody give you something and you lose it, then you don't know how to go and get it again because it was given to you. But when you build something and you lose it because you build it, you have the blueprint within you, you can go back and get it again. And so I just took those same principles that I built early and I just started rebuilding. You know, I think I had just turned 30. I was getting ready to go into my 30s and I had to rebuild my life all over again from scratch. And so I just started grinding, and it took me a couple years, and then I got to a point, and I said, you know what? Other people out there going through the same thing. Why not write a book? And I didn't know anybody that had written a book at the time. So, for me, this was new ground. And so I reached out to a guy that I had met at a conference, and he was giving a seminar. He happened to be in Fort Myers that weekend. He was giving a seminar, invited me to the seminar. I went to the seminar, and he pretty much told me, he said, you can write your book in 40 hours. And he gave me a couple concepts, couple principles, and I went and I wrote it in 40 hours. And then 2 weeks after I finished the book, my grandmother passed away. And I just put the book up on the shelf and didn't even think about it anymore. And in 2018, 2016, I got diagnosed with sarcoidosis. And, at that point, man, I was really, really down because I couldn't do what I thought was my purpose at the time. And then in 2018, a guy that had started mentoring me, he gave me a call and he said, hey, Eric Thomas, the #1 motivational speaker in the world, is going to be in Miami. It was Super Bowl Sunday, February 4th, 2018. And he said, he's going to be in Miami. Can you be there tomorrow? And this was on a Saturday. I said, heck yeah, I can be there, man. And so I got up at like 4 o'clock that morning. I drove over to Miami, and Eric was giving us a smaller conference. I'm talking about small, man. Wasn't a whole lot of people there. And I happened to be in the mix. And during the show, Eric came and sat beside me. Him and I struck up a conversation. And then he told me he wanted to talk to me after the show. So we go through the show, end of it. Him and I take a picture together. And he said, man, he said, God got something he wants you to do. You've already did it, but you're holding it to yourself, and you can't hold it for yourself. You got to share it with the world. And I knew what he was talking about, and it was the book. And so I came home that day, and I just started grinding on it, man. Writing it was the easiest part. Putting the book out, that was the hard part. Knowing exactly how I wanted it to look and all that, that was the hard part, man. And so we put it out November 2018. So from February 4th to, I say, November the 4th is when we actually produced it. And I think in December, that's when I actually put it out so everybody could see it.
So you met Big E, man. Dang, boy, that's a heavy hitter right there, man. That's a heavy hitter for real. Damn, 40 hours book. Wow. I thought it would take, a year or something like that, man. But like I thought that you had to climb a big mountain. Were you surprised how much time it took to do?
Well, at first I was, man, but the principles and the concepts that the guy gave me, like, it all made sense, and I'll share a couple of them. Was, once you know who your target audience is, then it's almost because the first time I wrote it, and I wrote it as just like I'm having a conversation with somebody, like, what do I want to share, and I wrote it like I was having a conversation with one of my football players or one of my kids, and then when I went through to draft it, I kind of changed a couple things in it, but it's pretty much written like I'm having a conversation with somebody.
That's awesome, man. Whenever you take a big feat like that in life, when you have certain goals and aspirations, sometimes they might seem lofty to a lot of people, and especially I remember when I was first doing my podcast, and And, things, I mean, like people I thought that would support it, that would be, behind me, I was very surprised. I had, some of the, closest people to me were, my main detractors, my main skeptics, you know what I'm saying? Uh, Tell us about that process, because I'm sure, when you probably, your circle or whatever, and there's probably some people who thought, you were crazy and, you wasn't going to be successful and stuff like that. Talk about that whole process. Were you surprised by some of your detractors?
Well, yes and no, man. Yes, I thought once I wrote this book, it was gonna be a bestseller. I was gonna sell 1 million copies. Because I'm telling my story. But no, in the fact that you know when people don't know, they don't know. And very early, there was a guy by the name of Donnie Glover, and he used to talk to me, big guy in the insurance industry, and he used to talk to me about ignorance. And he was like, ignorance isn't a bad thing. It just means a person doesn't know. So when I started putting the book out, the people that I thought that were going to snatch it up, because, man, we know him, man, that's our dog. Let's support him. They were not doing that, And I looked at it and I said, that's the ignorance, and they just don't know. And when you don't know how to support somebody, you just don't know. So now it's my job to teach them, this is how you show love, this is how you support. And so once I started doing that with people that was close to me in my circle, then it showed me who was real and who wasn't. But yeah, that entire it's a process that you got to go through to see who's with you and who's with you, if that makes sense.
No, I absolutely can relate to that thing. It was very surprising because, some of the, people in your circle, some people that you're friends with, and all that, you would think that they would be your biggest advocates. And when I started finding out that it was, they were, when I had the podcast, some of them would be listening, but they were listening from afar. They wasn't sharing it. They wasn't acknowledging it. I mean, they would listen to the content. It took like people that were total strangers to kind of give me the pick me up. Oh man, I listen to your, what's the name all day. I love what you're doing. It was mostly them that was giving me the encouragement, and to me that was very odd. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just like, dang. I would think like, the people closest to you or people around you or whatever, people that know you would be, your biggest advocates. And I never understood that because, I'm a person like, if I know anybody, like, if I have, Andrew, for instance, that's my, anything that he's behind, if I can, lend a helping hand to promote it, to show it, to brag on it, I've always been that guy, but there's some people that there's like a block, I don't know if it's just, they don't want to rise to the occasion too, or, I mean, what do you think that comes from? I'm not going to say it's jealousy and envy, but what do you think that comes from where, some people that you would think that support you, they don't really, ride for you like that?
Well, it reminds me of a story in the Bible, when Jesus, the first time Jesus got up to speak, and when he read the scripture, they said, oh, that's Joseph's boy, and that's the way they looked at him. They didn't look at him as being Jesus. They looked at him as being just Joseph's boy. Oh, he's a carpenter. He is this, he's that. And that's how people that are we friends with, they don't look at us as like being, oh man, that's who that is, man, or he's ascending to that level. They don't see that. They see you as being like, hey, this Mike P from, this my dog from down the street, and they don't get a chance to really step back to really see what you're doing and where you're going. And so they're going to support you, but they're just going to support you on the level that they're on, if that makes sense to you.
No, it's that's very interesting that you say that, because they only see you as, maybe like they don't put you on a pedestal, which is understandable, But the thing about it is that I've noticed in this culture, instead of propping somebody up, a lot of times, especially in the social media age, uh, we rather criticize them. You know, if
Right.
I'll give you an example. If I say, what, let's just say I just scored this big contract, I got this big job or whatever, right? And you put it on a certain social media space. Let's just say I have a following, right? Majority of the comments are probably going to be trolling comments or probably something from a negative perspective instead of congratulations and things like that. Um, it's just surprising. Like you get so much, especially with success. Anybody successful, any star right now, it doesn't even matter. Like, Cam Newton, for instance, I'll give you, like, he's an example. And we talked about it on the Big Dream Sports show. And if you put any article of Cam Newton, like, if ESPN puts an article under that, there's a crap load of detractors, like crap load of detractors. I mean, it's almost fun to bring somebody down. Uh, is it because you think people do it because they can remain anonymous? I just don't even get the mindset of why people, want to detract people so bad.
Well, I personally, I think it's because they wish that they could be that person, and their lives is not going as they want it to be. When you see somebody and they have, and that's what the book is about. It's about taking ownership of your life. And many times people will not take ownership of their lives and the decisions that they have made, and they blame other people. And then when they see somebody who's taking ownership of their life and enjoying their life, like they want to try to bring them down as fast as they can, like they want to say this, and this, and but it still doesn't stop the show. It still doesn't stop that person from, continuing to be who they are, and it doesn't stop them from being as successful as they are, you know. But that's what I think it is. And when I started writing this book, but even before then, when I was going into my 30s, I said I'm just gonna change a couple words that's in my vocabulary, and I'm just gonna try to look at things from a positive point of view, as positive as I can, So when somebody do something negative to me, I always try to flip it and put a spin on it, to, okay, now what positivity am I going to be able to get out of this and take forward in my life?
Yeah, I mean, somebody told me a long time ago, I guess, part of the most important part of reaching a goal is to start, put 2 feet on the ground. That's the most important part. And a lot of people don't do it because, they are kind of scared of that, backlash, because, they're scared of pleasing everybody. Um, like, do you almost, just to be successful, I guess, in life, don't you almost have, I know you have to have tunnel vision and look, be on that purpose, but do you have to almost be delusional in a sense? Do you almost have to be delusional in a sense? Because if you're not delusional, every negative comment, every one of those detractors can definitely set you back or stall you.
Right. You really pretty much do. For me and mine, it's almost like I turn the outside noise off. There's a way that I see myself. There's a way that I see myself going, and I just refuse to let anybody come into those lanes. You know, and it's purpose. If you know what your purpose is, and you know why you're here, then you focus on that. You don't focus on what's going on the outside. You don't focus on what people are saying over here or what people are saying over there. You focus on what you're supposed to be doing and where you're heading. And pretty much you do have to be delusional. People gonna say, man, he crazy for doing that, or man, he's stupid for doing that. Andrew Layton and I had a conversation about something that we're planning to do. And he said, man, and I know he don't mind me sharing this, man, people saying I'm dumb for doing this, and I said that they saying that because they don't see your vision. So God has given him a vision. He didn't get that vision to everybody else. He gave it to him. And so the road that he's traveling right now, to the people on the outside, it looked like, man, maybe he's not doing something, but God got something down there that he's waiting on him to get to, And so when God's sending you on a mission and he's sending you down the road, it ain't for everybody else to see, And the great thing about it, there's going to be people along the way that's going to help you get to the end of that, whatever that mission is, And people going to say, the people that are helping you, people around them going to tell them that they dumb, but we just got to keep on that path.
No, you're a testament to that, because you had one of the biggest motivational speakers in that journey. To help you was E. Thomas. That was really big. I remember I was going through a little bit a tough time, depression, and when you're going through those things, and you probably can attest to it. You get a lot of negative thoughts that kind of almost distract you, right? And one of the methods I used to use, and I learned this from a YouTube video I watched. It was this lady. She said, you know what? Whenever you get a negative thought or a negative feeling, or whatever, or something kind of like stops you or whatever, you count backwards. You said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it kind of gets that whole thing out of your psyche, out of your brain. And it worked. It's like, I remember I used to take tests and I used to get stumped. I'm like, man, you know what? I said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the other thing I used to, when I was really having a bad day, I used to, I forgot what quote it is. Just like, it's basically accept the things that you cannot change. That whole
Right.
quote. My brother, he gave me that. He was like, man, when you're having a bad day, man, just go ahead and read this, and it'll get you out of it. Was there certain techniques that you use to kind of keep you going? To block out all the noise and stay the course? Is there a daily routine or a daily thing that you do to kind of almost keep you on your purpose?
Oh, that's a great question. So I went 7 years without having a bad day, and this was my daily routine. So I'm a teacher. Worked at Immokalee High School. School started at 7:10. I would get up every morning at 4:00, and I would read something positive or listen to something positive. Most of the time, it would be like a Bible verse, or I would listen to maybe T.D. Jakes, or I would listen to my own pastor, and then I would go on a walk or a jog, 30 to 45 minute walk or jog. And then I would listen to other positive things, and then I would come back, take a shower, get ready to go to work. I always try to get to work 30 to 45 minutes early. That way I'm not in a rush, but those 3 hours before I have to be to work, I took ownership of my day, and I used it as I'm going to upload so much positive energy into my mind, into my body, that by the time I get to work or by the time I get to where I'm going, whatever negativity that's going to come, because I have so much positive force in me, that it's going to stop it before it even gets to me. So if somebody, like if they came in and, man, I'm going to do something to Coach Patterson today, as soon as they see me, man, they seeing a smile on my face, and there's not one person that can tell you that they worked with me that I didn't have a smile on my face, because I enjoyed what I did, and that whole routine, it helped me. I'm telling you, I went 7 years without having a bad day. I always try to have great energy. I always try to be upbeat, and I enjoyed what I did. So that will be my advice to people, is to take ownership of your day. Don't wake up just because I got to be working 8 o'clock. I'm gonna wake up at 7 o'clock. Now you're letting the job dictate your life. The job is gonna rule your life. So now you didn't do anything to uplift your mind, your body, your spirit. You didn't do any of that. So now when the negativity has come, because it's sitting there waiting for you. And I always picture the day like this. If you go and you look at Rocky 3, when Mr. T was training, and he was training hard, and Rocky was just kind of going through the motions. That's how I look at people in everyday life. Life is training to knock your butt out, but you act like you getting up, you just going through the motion. You getting, you lollygagging around, and life's sitting out there waiting on you. Life is right there at that stop sign waiting to punch you in your mouth. But because you didn't have no intentions about that day and you lollygag, now when you get to that stop sign, you get punched in the mouth, and now the rest of the day is bad just based on that interaction you had at the stop sign or the stoplight. But if you would have got up hours early, you would have missed that interaction at the stoplight or the stop sign, because you would have had so much positive force that whatever negative energy was there, it wouldn't even touch you. I know it might sound crazy to some people, but
no, you know what? You are giving some gems, man. You are giving some gems because a lot of those little things that you just talked about goes a long way. And I listen to Les Brown. Les Brown says that too, man. When you get up, the first thing you're supposed to do, is, read something positive. Read something, feed your brain. Feed your brain, get you on the right course. Because, usually how you start it is how you end the day. If you're starting it on a negative thing, pretty much everything goes downhill. And I remember my brother showed me something, and I thought he was kind of crazy for that. He was just like, I got off the chair, and then he was like, no, like you don't get off the chair with both feet like that. He's like, whenever you get off the chair, you're supposed to plant one foot, like your strong foot, and then push up. That way you'll be balanced. Because if you push up with 2 feet and just get straight up, you're going to be off balance. I'm like, you got to be crazy. It is like when you get up off of bed, you're not just supposed to just roll out of bed and whatever. Because if you do that, your whole day is not going to be balanced. And I was just like, you know what? He might be onto something. You know what? Let me try this. It made all the difference in the world. It kind of, I started to make a conscious effort when I was getting out of bed to make sure that I plant one foot and push myself up, push myself up. That way I'll be balanced. You know what I'm saying? Because, you gotta be balanced. Because if somebody just pushes you, you're going to fall down easy if you don't have no balance. And that's how life is. And it sounds weird, but it really made the difference. When you're walking, what I'm saying, you're supposed to, I remember I started to take a morning walk, and I started to listen to some music. I used to listen to, was it Barry White, his orchestra or whatever. Okay. And I would walk to a certain rhythm. I was getting my body aligned, that way the day went by really like on beat, not off beat. You know what I'm saying? I was like listening to the beat and I was just walking to the beat, and it kind of just set my whole day different because I was doing all those positive things, like you said, in the just kind of preparing yourself for the day, getting up early, getting that routine, just preparing for life, because you're right, life is ready to punch you every day, ready to hit you. If you get up blindly, you're not balanced, you're not whatever, I mean, it can knock you off your rocker. You know what I'm saying? All it does is just for them to flick you. I remember when I was, going through, a little depressed time, and some days, man, it was like a 400-pound gorilla on your back. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to wake up, man, and I don't want to go through this day. I don't want to go through this day or whatever. And then, one day you'll wake up and then you'll be like, oh man, you know what? This is not so bad. And then all of a sudden it just takes, a text message, a phone call, and then everything just collapses. Like everything collapses. Just like that. If somebody just flicks you, then all your emotion just comes right out, and then it just messes up everything. Everything goes downhill. But I'm glad that you did say that, if that makes sense, man, because you do have to put that positive stuff in the bank. That way, you won't go bankrupt during the day.
Right. And then I'll tell you something else. So I went 3 years, I didn't listen to any music. When I got in my car, I listened to Les Brown, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Walter Bond, Ivan Earl, Art Williams, Donnie Glover. I just listened to all those guys because they were talking about it's motivational. Eric Thomas, Inky Johnson. They're talking about doing. They're motivating people, but they're also giving it's real life things that they're talking about that they went through. So there's an inspiration that you can draw from that. Les Brown, if you fall down, make sure you fall on your back, because if you can look up, then you can get up. So that type of stuff, it sticks with you. Les Brown, he talks about when he got cancer, and he had pretty much like a pity party, and it took him 3 days, and then he woke up and he was like, man, listen, I'm not gonna let this deter me, because he was like, hey, it's a gland that's in the back of his head, in the back of our head, and that gland really determines on how you're going to go about your day, and you have to feed that gland positive energy, and so once I got that from him, I said, man, this is what I'm going to do. And I did it. And not knowing that in 2016, I'll be diagnosed with sarcoidosis. And, I have neurocardiac and pulmonary sarcoidosis. So that was a hurdle that I had to go through. But I've always tried to keep a positive mindset towards it, and not be negative about it.
Yeah, man, bro. That man, you talked about a lot of motivational speakers that I listen to. I mean, Les Brown has gave me so many gems. Was it TD Jakes? He got me through a tough time too. He was like, and I always thought, I'd never really been a religious person, and I always thought like TD Jakes and Joel Osteen, those guys were, ultra religious, Bible thumping dudes, and they wasn't real people and stuff like that. And I just, I gave it a chance, and TD Jakes had said something that was, it got me through a lot of stuff. He was like, stand tall on your ship, because people are going to put water in your ship to sink it, but stand tall. Long as you stand tall, your ship will never sink. you know, through all adversity, because there's going to be people that throw water in your thing. But I mean, just stand tall. Even if there's water in the ship, if you stand tall, you're going to make it. As long as you can see the horizon, you know what I'm saying, you're going to make it. You know, a lot of people end up not standing tall, going down in the ship, trying to take the water out, because you're never going to get all the water out. As long as you stand tall, stand above it, you know, you're going to be good. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be good as long as you can see the land. You're going to get to your destination. But a lot of people don't do that. You know, they don't do that. They try to they start trying to take the water out, because I mean, it's going to keep filling up. You know, you got to understand that people are going to put water. You got to carry water and stand tall. And another thing was with Zig Ziglar. And you know, a lot of these things, like, you know, like, people wonder why people read so many books sometimes, because there's a lot of gems in the books. I remember when I was in sales, Zig Ziglar basically showed me how. No, actually, it was Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy's a sales guru. He was like, man, he's like, you got to do goals. You got to give yourself a goal and write them down. And I remember I told myself I want to make 6 figures this year. And I wrote that goal down. And he was like, from that, you gotta basically build you a roadmap on how do you get to that. You know, how many sales per day, down to the minute, all the activities. And I did that. You know, I did all the way down to the minute. You know, to the hour, how many phone calls I had to make, how many contacts I had to make. And I was very confident in myself, because I knew, you know, I had the skills and stuff like that. And it was just all about the activities, you know. And I was just amazed on just focusing on the activities and focusing on the thing, how successful I was in sales. I was just like, wow, I surprised myself, you know, because I knew exactly where I was going. I knew what the destination was. And it became, you know, easy. And then all of a sudden I just started wrapping up goals. I was like, man, you know what? I want to make more, you know. And, you know, it's always important, you know, to always educate yourself. Don't think that you know everything. You know, even Mark Cuban, I seen him on the Earn Your Leisure podcast, and they were talking about, you know, he's a billionaire. You don't have any reason, you know, to be working really. You can just kind of enjoy your life. He's like, nah, I can't do that. I gotta read. I gotta take courses. I gotta keep doing that, you know, because it gives me an edge. You know, Bill Gates, you know, the richest guy in the world, at the same time, he reads a book every day. You know, why is that? He can just relax in wherever country, wherever place that he wants to, but he's always having that urge to learn, that urge to grow, you know, and not be stagnant, you know, never be satisfied. And, you know, I think that's very important, you know, to always educate your mind. You were in education, man. Do you think there's going to be ever a time where you stop trying to learn?
No, man, no. You got to keep learning, man, because education is, and I always have this debate with old educators, or let me not say old educators, but educators who have been in the business for a long time. With the way we have things going today, and this is just my perception. With technologies like something different is coming out almost daily, you know. And as educators, we have to be up to date with all those different things that are coming out, all the new processes that are coming out. We have to be update to that, because the kids that we're teaching, they're up to date with it, and that's how they're learning. And so we can't be trying to teach kids like we built cars and like we taught them in the 1900s. That stuff doesn't work anymore. Like their processor or their brain is a little bit faster, you know. And if you just get up and you want to lecture them Like all they're gonna hear is the Charlie Brown teacher, blah, 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 blah. And as an educator, we have to constantly be on top of our game to know what's new coming out, to be in front of it, not being behind the curve. And so for me as an educator, I try to always be in front of it, and that's where you got to be in with them kids, man, and understanding like what's going on now, and what you're getting from that. And they're like an open book. Like they will open up and talk to you and tell you what's going on. And now it's up to us to be able to implement that into our everyday strategy.
We're in an unprecedented time, especially, with coronavirus and how we do things nowadays, how we educate our kids and things, they're doing virtual learning and those type of things. As a parent, I know you have an older daughter, right? Is she's going to college?
I got one in college. She's getting ready to go into her junior year. And then I got one graduating high school this year.
Right, right. The whole landscape, they basically in a year, they pretty much had to change the way they do things. I guess as a parent, what adjustments have you had to make sure that they're getting that quality education? And what tips can you give to, other parents? Because, they're at home. And,
Right.
Sometimes with all these different things like social media, there's a lot of distractions. Without being a helicopter parent, how do you navigate this? What are some tips, I guess, to navigate this landscape?
Well, what I would say is, and I did it with my kids early. And then when I got into the education industry, I was able to do it as a teacher. So, number one, I would advise all parents to give your kids a DISC assessment to find out what type of personality they have. Is it a dominant personality? So I look at it as the four animals. And I got this from the late Chris Daniels, the project manager, PMP guru. And I just kind of put my own twist onto it. So children, they're going to be four different animals. The ram, they're always going to butt heads, you're going to have the parent. Those are the ones that want to talk. You're going to have the chameleonaire. It doesn't matter what room or what's going on, they can blend in. And then you're going to have the turtle. Those are the kids that people think that they're kind of slow. So that's number one. Find out what their personality is. Okay. Number two, find out how your kids learn. You can give your kids a learning assessment, and pretty much it'll tell you how they learn, and I think a lot of parents are finding out now that their kids, they don't learn the traditional way, and, in schools, a lot of times they don't teach time management, and so parents are finding out now, like, man, oh, my kid, they're not as smart as I think they are. Or some parents are finding out, oh, my kid is smarter than I thought they were. So they're not being challenged, so those two things are very important, because once you find out your kid personality, and I know a lot of parents have found out that, oh, my kid got my personality and it sucks, and I got to make a change. I've talked to a lot of parents that are doing that right now. Like, man, I didn't know, and so this time has allowed parents to see that, oh, this is what the teacher is dealing with every day. I was in a meeting a couple weeks ago, and this school district said that 80% of the kids that were doing homeschool were failing. How is that? How are kids that are at home, failing? 80% of them are failing. Like, you're not even turning the program on. Like, they're tuning everything is being tuned out. And the reason it's being tuned out is because the system is trying to teach all the kids the same way and not teaching kids on how they learn. So like I said, number one, find out what your do the DISC assessment. That's going to be the personality. Number two, give your kids a learning style assessment. That's going to determine how they learn, and then just upload everything towards that. If they're I give example, my youngest daughter, she's hands-on, so when I'm teaching her, I teach her like we're doing everything hands-on. If I put a book in front of her, she's going to fall asleep. So I understand that. But my oldest two daughters, if I put a book in front of them, like they're boom, boom, boom the whole time, and they're not so much as, getting out there and doing it right away. There's steps to it. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, Coach Patterson, you were in the education system, and I know down here in Florida, they kind of revamped it. I can't remember if it was like 10 years ago where it was basically the measuring stick was a standardized test. Do you felt like that was effective at all? I know there was a lot of with teachers, is basically you guys were just teaching to pass a test, and it kind of almost changed the whole school experience of learning. Um, uh, how is that? I mean, like, I with this environment, I guess I don't know, how's that going to work now. How's that really going to work where you have a lot of kids that are doing virtual learning, and they kind of almost can do whatever they want to do, and like with when they're in school, they kind of almost get them on a course of passing that FCAT test or whatever. Do you anticipate like the scores, like the standardized test scores being, worse, with this environment?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I really think they're gonna have to go away with the standardized testing, because, and I'm not a traditional education guy. I came to the education industry from the corporate world. So I kind of see things a little bit different. But at the end of the day, I feel that when a kid leaves high school, if they graduation is June 4th, on June 5th, that kid should be able to take some ownership of their life to be able to go find a job, to be able to open up a bank account, those, to be able to go grocery shopping. Those are basic life skills, that a lot of our kids don't have. And I know a lot of people like, well, they should get that from home. They should get that from home. Well, nowadays, both parents have to work. Like one parent just can't work, and the other parent stay home with the kids because everything is so expensive. So it's not like, when my grandmother and everything was going to school, and then the other argument will come up, well, they should get better paying jobs. Well, I came from, my mom and grandmother raised me. I didn't have no trust fund. I had to get everything, what they call get it out the mud. I had to get it all out the mud. So I had to, in order for me to pay for my college, I had to go into the United States Army. I had to serve Uncle Sam for 8 years. That was a huge sacrifice. A lot of people are not willing to make that sacrifice just to go to college. And I don't think they should have to make that sacrifice just to get an education. And so some of those things that we used to be able to teach at home, we now have to incorporate and start teaching it in a school setting. So our kids, when they get out, they will have some sort of direction on how their life is going to go, and what their life is going to be, rather than when they get out here, they get hit with that brick wall and they're automatically in debt. And now the rest of their life, they're chasing debt, and not chasing to live their dreams, not chasing to find their purpose, not chasing to find what their passion is, to enjoy life. And then, that's how a lot of depression, a lot of kids get on these drugs. That's just what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I worked at a bank, for a long time, and what I'm very surprised about, the lack of focus of financial literacy, especially in the school system, because that is probably one of the biggest parts of life is financial literacy. You have a 50% divorce rate, and most people get divorced because of lack of, finances. That's one of the biggest problems. People go into depression, because of finances. A lot of times, we live in a capitalist society. Finance or money kind of almost dictates almost our quality of life. What I just don't understand is why, from like education standpoint, there's not a bigger emphasis on that part. Because it controls so much of your life. It's like now, the thing is like, for instance, a guy, like, even in the dating market, that's like a requirement now. You know what I'm saying? That's like, if you're a guy, that's like a requirement. You have to, be financially stable, or you're not attractive anymore. It's such a big part of our life, but it doesn't seem like there's that much emphasis on basic financial literacy, just like in the school system.
Right. And just me personally, I'm not talking about anybody else. I believe you have the people that are in finances, like they make a lot of money on debt. They want people, like, if you go to colleges, one of the first things that they do is they want to hand out credit cards to kids. You haven't given them a class on how to handle these credit cards or anything like that, and then when the kid run the credit card up, he don't have no way to pay for it, and if he do or she does, I'm gonna pay $25 a month because that's what they get you at. Oh yeah, all you gotta do is pay $25 a month. Well, you just ran the bill up $4,000. Like, how do you give a person who just got out in this world a $4,000 or $5,000 credit limit, and they don't know what's going on? Maybe $300. Now we can deal with $300. When I first got to my duty station in the military, there was a credit union, and it was, in order to get open up an account with this credit union, you had to go through their credit class, and the class was teaching you about credit. It taught you about how to balance your checkbook. Like, it taught you all the financial guidelines, and then at the end of it, they would give you a loan and show you how to how to establish credit, and so then they also had somebody that came out and talked to me about investments. So they were setting up something long term, and I believe everybody went through that course. Like, they got that loan and then they paid it back in a certain amount of time, and their credit score just went through the roof. But you don't have a lot of banks or education systems that of education firms that are out here doing that. So I believe that they are controlling what is being taught in these schools, because if you can teach a kid about algebra, right? Now, as soon as that kid get out, when the next time, most high school graduates, when the next time they're going to use algebra? Likely none, maybe 5-10 years.
Social
unless they're going,
unless they're traveling social studies. That's
right,
crazy.
when like right now, social studies should change because social media should be added into social studies right now. Because that's the direction that we're going into. But I just believe that the people that are, especially in these financial institutes and these old financial institutes, like they're help guiding on what's going to be taught to these kids, and it's hurting them, for the long run, But if you think about it, if you think about this right here, cancer. If we found a cure to cancer, if somebody found a cure to cancer, how many people would lose their jobs?
Nah, you're right. You're right. You got to keep people sick to sell them medicine. That's crazy,
Right.
though. You're right about that, though. It's almost I don't know what the right word, demonic. Some of the things, I remember I was going, the birth of my son, and just it was like when I look back at it, I was like, man, they were running up the check. They were just basically running up the check. They basically was just running up the check. You got to come into the room every was it couple hours to give them these powerful drugs. They already been, you really need to cut her open. You really need to give her this tranquilizer, this, you're just running up the check. You know what I'm saying? Is it really needed? When people 50 years ago didn't need this to give birth to a child, but you need all these different things. And it kind of opened up my eyes, wow. It's to me, it was just mind-boggling how much waste there is in the system. And this is the last question, Coach. You were in the insurance industry, right? And again, with financial literacy, and to me, it's sad. And I had to learn really fast because I had to go through it twice. When you see that person passes away and they don't have, and then you see a GoFundMe, like, what goes through your mind when you see that as an insurance agent?
Oh man, lack of planning. When I was 18 years old, going through basic training, and you have to go through. It's a station you have to go through. I forgot the name of it, but you go through, and this is where you get all your shots. This is pretty much where your military record begins. And the lady asked me, she said, "Do you want to get life insurance?" And I was like, "What's life insurance?" So she explained to me. She said, for $400,000, you pay $18 a month. I was like, ooh. So if something happens to me, my mom is going to get $400,000. My sister is going to get $400,000. It was a no-brainer. So that, to me, that meant that my family, if something happens to me, my family will be in a better financial situation. So it was a no-brainer for me to get that. And then years later, I ran into a guy by the name of Eric Williams, and he didn't sell me anything. He just asked me a question, and it took off with me, man. It was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer, So if for example, and then I had a guy that I was doing insurance with, and he said that his grandfather, the day he was born, his grandfather took out $1 million policy, and he was going to be the beneficiary. So he took out $1 million policy for all his grandkids. And then he said when his dad, when he had his first kid, his dad took out $1 million policy for his son. So the day that he passed away, his son would automatically become a millionaire. And I was like, and he asked me, he said, so how much money did your grandfather leave you? I said, my grandfather didn't leave me nothing. When I asked my grandmother, she said, well, your granddad said that he was not going to leave anything for anybody to fight over, you know. And the Bible states that a good man, we ain't talking about a great man, we talking about a good man will leave an inheritance for his kids. Well, what about if he leave an inheritance for his kids, for his kids, you know? And life insurance is the fastest way to gain wealth. Because if something happens, like if my grandfather, if he would have had $1 million policy for all his grandkids, then our lives would be different. You know, we would live life differently. We would think differently. And money, you know, a lot of people, a lot of times you hear money is the root of all evil. The love and the greed of money is, you know, but when you have money, you think different. Your actions are different. You know, when you don't have money, now you're taking those penitentiary chances, you know, because if I got to choose, if my kids' stomachs are growling, now I got to go out here and I got a strong arm. I got to go do something to make sure that their stomachs are not growling anymore, you know, and that's a hard way to go, you know, when somebody could have just taken the time out and say, you know what, I'm going to pay $20 to $40 a month to make sure that when I'm gone, my next generation of kids, they have something in place that they don't have to struggle. They don't have to go sell themselves for anybody else to make money off of them, you know. And when we got to keep educating our community about this. You know, $40 a month, but that's taking ownership of your life. You got insurance on your car, on your boat, on your house. You got insurance on your cell phone. If you don't have, you got insurance on all them things, but you don't have insurance on yourself, it don't make no sense. It's crazy. So I told my family that if you don't have insurance, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how you're going to get in the ground. I don't know how things are going to happen, because if you didn't take the time out to do something basic for you, we ain't talking about for me, we talking about for you, I don't know what to tell you. Don't send me no GoFund. Don't invite me to no fish fries, none of that, because that person could have taken the time out to sit with somebody for 10 to 15 minutes and pay a minimum of $20 to $25 a month to make sure that they will be taken care of and their families will be taken care of after that. So that's my take on it.
Nah, man, it is crazy how how the lack of just fundamental financial education that is taught to us, and it does leave us a lot in that scarcity mindset, you know, that perpetual cycle of scarcity where you have, you know, these young men taking chances, you know, because they wasn't set up, you know, they were set up in a impoverished situation, which could have been fixed, you know, just by a person making an adjustment, you know, that's, to me, that's crazy, you know, and like, you know, I had a friend that used to buy tax liens and things like that, and he would buy properties. And, you know, you would have, like, you know, especially in, you know, our communities, you'll have these, you know, older people, you know, they end up dying. And then next thing you know, you know, their house gets foreclosed on, you know, but yet they have, you know, 10 people living in that house and the taxes don't get paid, you know. And, you know, people pick up these properties for next to nothing. And to me, I never understood how that happened. You know, when grandma dies, you would think that house would be left to someone else. You know, they can, you know, fix it up, maybe sell it, resell it. But a lot of times they don't even get that opportunity because, you know, people don't even pay the taxes on it, you know, and And that scarcity mindset, you know, is a culprit to all that. You know, it's like, wow, you know, you couldn't pay 20, like you guys couldn't take and you put together $2,500 or, you know, some rural areas are even cheaper than that to pay the taxes on this each year, you know? And, you know, you're letting this house go next to nothing. You know, grandma doesn't have, you know, life insurance because, you know, everybody's, you know, out for self. Everybody's out going to the club every weekend. And I'm just using a loose example. But this type of stuff happens all the time, you know? It's crazy how, like, you know, these little gems that, you know, that could be put in our community doesn't resonate. Like, you know, if you told, you know, a young man, you know what, you know, you're out here, you know, going out to the club and, you know, burning $500 a month, you know, if you, like, if you not even cut, I mean, if you cut back and you just resisted that for 25 years, you'll be a millionaire. You know, you can put that money into an investment, and over time, you know, you can just put it in a middle of the road, you know, mutual fund or whatever. You know, $500 a month, you'll easily be a millionaire in 25 years. You know, you won't be having to ask for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And you can change the whole complexity of, you know, your family. You know, your immediate family. You know, it's just like, the thing about it is like, once you become a millionaire, you know, you're gonna have, you know, nephews, nieces, cousins, and stuff looking at you, and that they want to do the same thing that you do. So that can change the whole complexity of your, you know, of your family, and you guys can build generational wealth, man. But thank you so much, Coach Patterson, man. Any last words, man? Because I know you, you know what, you always have these quotes at the end of the show, man. Give us drop a gem on us, man. Drop us something on it that's going to leave us, you know, give us some inspiration right now.
Ownership, man. Take ownership of your life. You can go out and it's on Google. Google Books, Live, Love, and Lead, How to Transform Your Life from Ordinary to Exceptional. Chapter 1, it talks about taking ownership of your life. And where you are right now, go into the bathroom, look in the mirror, have a conversation with you and you, because you know you. You can bull jive everybody else, but you cannot bull jive you. You know you. You know your secrets. You know everything about you, except who you are. Figure out who you want to be. Who do you want to be? If you don't know, find the closest person you know to that. Okay. And then you say, well, I'm going to go on that path. That's all that needs to happen. I call it the come to Jesus meeting. When you walk out of that bathroom, from that point on, every decision you make got to be going towards who you want to be in the future. And if it doesn't align up with who you want to be in the future, then you know that's not for me. Everything else, that if it aligns up with who you want to be in the future, then that's for you. You know, and that's the first step in taking ownership of your life. And then once you make that first step, like I'm telling you, not saying that life is going to be easy, but it will be easier. It will be easier. So ownership, that's what I got for you today. And you can find me on Facebook or YouTube, Impact Media Group. That's MMPAK Media Channel. I'm sorry, Media Channel. On Instagram, I'm at Impact Group.
Yeah, if you get a chance, man, you can drop that link in the chat when I post a podcast, man. Make sure that you drop that link in the chat so they can find you, man. When are you usually on? Because I know you do a podcast with veterans by veterans. When do you normally do that?
So I do that one Sunday at 4 p.m. We go from 4 to 5. That's Eastern time. My Beyond Friday nights. I record that one on Sundays, and then we drop it on Tuesdays. My Cream podcast will be going every Thursday around 12:30. We'll be live on Facebook and YouTube. And then of course the big morning show, Saturday morning show we do. We do that one on Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. and that's every Saturday morning.
That's where you can find Triple Black busting shots. You already know what it is, man. The No Cupcake Zone podcast too. You can catch me on that, man. But Coach, though, we definitely got to collaborate some other time, man. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed this talk. I think that you did drop some gems in there. You guys make sure you guys support. Make sure you like and share this podcast. If you get a chance, go ahead and go find Veteran by Veteran. The link is in there, and also the IG's in there, man. Make sure you show some support. And man, it was great, man. Hey, it was great talking to you, Coach, man. We're definitely gonna collaborate again, because I definitely like that one podcast that you did with Gary Petador, the financial mayor. You know what I'm saying? Cream, cash rules everything around me, but you said it's competence or confidence?
Confidence.
It's confidence rules everything around me. Yeah, absolutely, man. But anyways, man.
That'll be my next book. My next book is Cream, and I'm probably gonna drop it on my birthday, May 24th.
Wow. Man, you're doing big things over there, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's your town? I'm gonna say stand up. Georgia, was it? Georgia, stand up. What's the town name again?
Bainbridge, Georgia, man.
Bainbridge, Georgia, man. What's the next closest city to big city that everybody knows? Is it ATL?
No, Tallahassee.
Tallahassee. Oh, okay. So you're right on the border, right? Close to the border.
Yeah,
close to Valdosta.
Yep, close to Valdosta, about an hour, a little over an hour from Valdosta. We call Tallahassee, that's South Georgia. Tallahassee, right. Quincy, Lake City, all that. That's Jackson.
I got a partner that we grew up. One of my good friends growing up. He was from Gretna. I guess that's a little town over there, Gretna. Yeah.
I got family living in Gretna. My dad is from Quincy. Yeah, I'm up in all them little areas in there.
Yeah, man. Shooting them possums and getting them turtles and the hogs.
Don't forget about the coon, man. Get
yeah.
Look, man, I saw a possum down here last night, man. First time I seen a possum, man, he drove across from me, man. I was about to stop him and put him in the trunk.
Oh, no, man. It's Easter Sunday, boy. I know you got some roadkill on the menu, huh?
Hey, look, the only reason why I didn't stop, I didn't know if it was an anaconda chasing him.
All right, Coach P, man, we out, man. And make sure you guys like and share the podcast, man. The more likes, we're doing it big out here, man. No Cupcake Zone, man. It's MMM Pack Media Channel, man. Make sure you guys check that out. Veteran by Veteran podcast, the Impact Group on IG. Make sure y'all show some love, man. You already dropped, if you can too, drop a link to that book where they can get the book too in the chat. That would be great. I'll let you drop that so they'll know exactly. They can get it off of Google, and can they get it off of Amazon too?
No, not off Amazon. I'm just doing it on Google Books right now, and that'll be that's the ebook. You can get that one off the ebook.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can get it off there. And if you want a physical copy, just DM me on one of my Facebook or YouTube, and I can get you a physical copy.
For sure, man. Anyways, man, we out.